I decided to teach because I really want to make a difference in children's lives.
I know a lot of adults will say kids never know when they're ready.
Learners don't want our opinion.
I don't think a lot of learners take the subject seriously.
I was taught that sex gives you AIDS.
I knew that sex was a bad thing to do.
We grew up knowing it is taboo to talk about it.
We were a bit shy to hold each other's hand or to kiss each other.
A teacher needs to remember that this child needs support.
Who are you? Are you gay? Are you queer? What does that even mean? Adolescence is the dawn of sexual attraction. It includes the mind, body, and spirit connection. Now, when a young person feels that their sexual identity does not follow the norm, they are bound to experience emotions of not fitting in and even not belonging. I'm Dineo Ranaga. Welcome to Breaking the Silence. Today's show will help affirm these learners and educators who identify as LGBTQI. It is the right of every citizen in our country to feel secure about their sexual orientation without the fear of discrimination. Mbuyiselo Buerta, a gender activist, is our expert today. He'll be seated backstage with our panel of educators, watching the learners' discussion unfold.
My name is Sandile Plagi, currently teaching from Plugombo Secondary.
I'm Mandisi Njovane, 27-year-old educator.
I am Eugenia Makyakya. I'm a teacher in Kailicha.
I enjoy and love teaching life orientation because life orientation actually makes a student understand life.
It actually guides a learner into becoming a useful or a good citizen and prepares the child for future life.
Today, our panel of learners are Evanor, Pumlani, Ngumisa, Sinetemba, Simbongile, Kaylin. Guys, I'm so excited to be here with you. Are you excited to be with me?
Yeah.
I hope so. I'm glad, actually. I'm equally more excited about what your thoughts are on the subject, and the subject today, obviously, is sexual diversity. I've organized for us to watch a clip, and when we're done watching, we're going to talk about how it makes us feel. Let's take a look.
Throughout my life, the one recurring theme that I've been taught by the world and people who don't even know me is that I should be ashamed of myself. But the question is why? Why should I be ashamed? What have I done wrong that I'm supposed to be ashamed of? My name is Glow, and I'm from the Free State. I think I was about 3 years or 4 years old, and I used to play. I remember this. I used to play and create hair out of t-shirts, and that was like my favorite thing. Whenever I had a t-shirt on my head, I was the prettiest girl in the world. I was always around girls, always playing girls' games, and that was just me. Everybody in the community knew. Everyone knew that, okay, he's gonna go play with the girls.
So, Glow is very open about who she is. What do you understand by sexual diversity?
Sexual diversity is a very, very big umbrella which has many things under it.
Let's talk about those many big things under it. Which ones do we know of? There's lesbian, there's gay,
there's homosexual,
bisexual,
heterosexual,
transgender, queers. Yeah.
For example, I'm gay, so I'm sexually attracted to men and not women.
Let's get down to basics. There's sex, there's sexual identity, there's sexual orientation. What's the difference?
Sex as in your gender, if you're a male or a female. Also sex, the intercourse of a male and a female, or a male with a male or female with a female.
Okay. Sexual identity?
It's the way you identify yourself. If I have a vagina, then I can call myself a female. If I have a penis, then I can call myself a male. Then if I'm like, that's what you identify yourself with.
Sexuality is not actually showing us it's not addressing gender necessarily. It's not a boy and boy or girl and girl, but the focus needs to be on how you feel and how what kind of life you want to live at the end of the day.
Do you think it's important for people to come out and say that I am gay, I am transgender?
Important, yeah.
Why is it important?
Because if I don't show myself, then I'm not honest with myself, then I'm not honest with the world, because I always put the mask over me.
If you come out in an older age, then you will be old enough to handle all that kind of pressure. But if you're a small kid and you come out like that person you want to be, you are too small to take that kind of pressure, so you will wait till you're older so you can take that punches in life.
Our parents never talks to us about sex and all those kind of things. In their point of view, like, they are not gays. They're living their life. There's no gays, there's no lesbian, there's no transgender. If you maybe come out as gay or a lesbian or transgender, like, they would insult you and call you names or even chase you away. You're not my son. I didn't give birth to a morphe. Like,
how was it for you? How was it for you coming out at home?
For me, it was very difficult. When I was at home, I needed to be a man. I needed to act like a man. But when I was outside with my friends, I was the real me. I expressed myself like I was like, I felt alive. And when I came back home, when I entered the door or the gate, I was like, now I need to be a man. Now I need to act straight. And it was very difficult for me as one person to act two roles. We sat down together and we talked. And I told him, and I said, Daddy, I'm gay. He was like angry. We didn't talk for days, but he came back after a few days and he said, my son, I accept you for who I am. But you still get those people that are not very supportive. My learners also, which is I don't care about them, because if you don't play a big role in my life, you are zero in my face. I'm Sinatamba Njweza. I'm 18 years old. I'm very passionate about life. My first priority is my academic and my sport. I was raised by my parents, both parents, but I lost my mother in 2011. My heart broken, everyone outspoken, left alone to face this world on my own. In life, I face a lot of challenges and obstacles, but somehow I'm rising above my circumstances and I do not let my circumstances define me. Doesn't matter who you are, what you are, or where you come from, you can be who you want to be.
Do you feel that if you were lesbian, you would have room at home to be yourself?
Neke sibayeke abantu bazi gay ne lesbian ne. Ngoba like neke sibanike i-chance yaba nabo basifile esiba engabo ne. Singabajaji ngoba yinto ababelieve kuyo uba bangafithe and bangasifila comfortable.
Sometimes they can beat you physically for who you are. So now a person that wants to come out has to consider that I'll be discriminated, fine. They'll hate me, fine.
My safety is at risk.
But I'll be beaten up. There's another thing, you just have to think about,
We do have like a policy that is like protecting almost every child at school. So we see to it that every child at school is protected.
If it happens in a school premises, report it to your teachers, report it to the school management. Take a step further, and if they are not doing anything, report it even to the police, because it's not supposed to happen.
They say, lesbians, zithatha amachero wabo.
So manhlezi nina ningamajita nkhuluma. That's what other guys say.
Yeah.
Uti lesbians zithatha amachiri wabo.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's why lesbians zirechwa zibulawa.
I want to talk about that. How does that affect you, knowing that some guys in the neighborhood would rape other girls just because they are lesbian?
Isicekisela phansi thina singabantu singamajita okanye singabafana, because once umuntu enza into eyi-1 sithi isiXhosa isizwe sifa ngumuntu oyi-1.
What if it's your sister who is a lesbian? What if your mother had you and afterwards your mother decided that she's going to marry another woman?
How does one find themselves so uncomfortable that another person is living their life their way?
Always, the first couple is a male and a female, every time. Even our families, you have your mother and your father, our grandparents, it's the mother and the father. Like, and then also in the Bible, it's Adam and Eve. And then now...
Not Adam and Steve.
Yeah, so now as we grow up, we're being told, my child, one day you're gonna get married. I want grandchildren. Now, if I've been told that in my entire life and then I see someone else doing something else and I'm like, no, we're not supposed to do that. You should do this. And I'm like, hey, wait, like, because I see it fit for the society.
I still wonder why people get so angry at people just innocently living a different life from them. Because if I'm gay, does it affect you in any way?
It doesn't.
Nope. Not? No. It doesn't change the price of bread. It doesn't change the price of petrol. It stays the same.
It stays the same, yeah.
Here we go. We'll be right back.
When I was like in primary school, was every Monday morning there'd be assembly and we'd have to stand in lines. So I had this one friend of mine, Tidi. I was supposed to be standing in the boys' line and she was supposed to stand in the girls' line, but it never really worked out like that. We always just chose to stand together in between both lines. And I used to get teased a lot about that because I remember this one time, this boy yelling at me that I was gay and I couldn't remember. I couldn't figure out why was he yelling this at me? Was I gay? What does that even mean? And it's so crazy because the teachers never addressed it. They never addressed it. It was always something, that empowers bullies. And instead of building a schooling environment that is safe for everybody, it creates an environment that is unsafe, an environment that I have to live in every single day of my life and have to walk in and realize that I'm not safe here because I might just be attacked. I came to think I was gay because society was like, okay, this is more acceptable. Because being gay was like, even though it was ostracized, it wasn't as bad as wanting to be a girl.
Did anyone feel uncomfortable by watching Glow?
No, not at all.
Why is that?
Because she's actually appreciating herself. And also one thing that I got out of that video is that the teachers have a role to play in what happened to her, because if this was actually taught at school and this subject, life orientation, like words were being called the exact way they are, then she wouldn't have faced discrimination with other kids, you know.
If you went to your favorite teacher at school and said, sir, ma'am, I'm gay, what do you think they would say? Is it?
Yeah, cause into abayenzayo miss leyo even in staff room, if ever bayava into ethile okanye kuthethwa ngumntana bakuku umntana othile kulo class, then loo nto yinto ezawuthethwa ngayo PS staff room, but wena uyixelele umuntu oyi-1 but ngoku uzayiva ithethwa ngonye umiss, yabo, which is into sozikwazi uyixelela umiss wakho, asikwazi utrust omiss bethu thina kweli xesha langoku.
There are problems that are encountering in their classes that again teachers, they don't have confidence. Teachers, they are not like, they don't keep what the learners have told them.
I trust my teacher, like, he's my favorite teacher, Mr. Spanda, my drama teacher, like. I wouldn't say like he would tell other teachers about what we were discussing because I think he would accept me.
My teacher would say to me, "Yo, Kailan, I didn't expect that from you because you're such a nice girl, and all of a sudden you just being like a lesbian. God didn't create like that. You're a girl."
There seems to be a confidentiality issue within your teachers and yourselves, so you can't really trust them, because you would be 1 out of 4 that trust their teachers. The rest of you don't feel that you can trust them with your secret. How do they teach you about sexual diversity at school? Do they teach you at all?
Teachers don't use the exact same words. Like they use like cookie and exactly.
Yeah.
And I think like that's wrong because they don't want to express what the real word is, and that's why when the learners makes fun of this subject and teachers are not straightforward, and I think that's why we get so much teenage pregnancy in our communities, because teachers are not straightforward, and our teachers and parents don't teach us what we should know and what we must and what we must not.
And what the consequences are. Yeah.
They want us to come clean, to unpack things as it is, and it actually opened a door for me not to hold back whenever I teach in class.
Sometimes when we sit in class and our teacher come in and say vir ons, ja, soos ons nou sê, en as hulle like hulle crop parts out, from the table, from the textbook, van de tabel af. En soos wat er staan penis en vagina, die haal het uit. En sit ander woorde in soos puberteit en daai goed wat inkom. As dit daai goed in en wat sy nou jou menstruele goed kry soos your periods and that kind of stuff. We already know that. We want to know the deeper stuff. Because as hulle nie daai goed vir die kinders sê nie, gaan hulle uitgaan buite hulle gemeenskap en vind dit daar. En dat die ouers dit nie vir hulle gesê nie en dan kom hulle terug en dan kom hulle swanger terug. Van hulle vat dit so, die ouers sê nie vir hulle wat hulle vir kan op buitekant verwag hulle kom en dan gaan hulle uit in die gemeenskap en as die ouer verbasend dat die kind swanger is.
So you're saying in a nutshell, if I'm understanding her correctly, the theory at school must be as is, in depth, in detail, as it should be. So you don't go outside of school to go and practice it and experience it elsewhere. Are you ready to have this conversation with your teachers? You do know that they're here, right? You do know that you can't have Dinewa Ranaka without Daroma. We're going to take it there. You ready?
Yes.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
So when I finally learned what being trans was and became woke to the whole idea, I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder it makes so much sense that you are actually a trans woman. That's why when you're underneath this category of being gay and you're like, okay, I'm a man and I'm attracted to other men, it still didn't work out because I wasn't a man attracted to other men. I was not. I've always been a woman attracted to men. There's been a burden and a weight that's been lifted. Sort of like I've removed a mask and I'm brand new. I'm brand new. That's where I'm at right now. I'm brand new. What's important is to build a world full of love. So if we are able to move towards a place that is inclusive and incorporates all our identities in all of their magnitudes and difference, the variety is so incredible, it's so amazing, that if we were to get to that place, we can live in a utopia.
We've had a very healthy, sensible discussion with the learners, and now, as you can see, the family has been extended. The teachers join us. I'm going to open up the floor under the watchful eye of Datambuiselo Buerta to the educators. I want us to talk about our South African Constitution. We should pride ourselves in the fact that it is the first in the world to protect the human rights of sexual, gender minorities. Section 9, we are obligated to not discriminate by the Constitution. Is this what is happening in schools?
Not necessarily, though we know it's supposed to happen. My advice to everyone, and this is what I preach, your rights end where mine start.
I think it's very important that we should, in fact, try to find out from the learners in particular, how would you like them to create an atmosphere of being compassionate, of love? As learners, what is it that they must do as educators?
I think into bekumele babayenza, I think bekumele bazithanda gays and also lesbian as babethanda abantwana babo. Kokokuqala lokho. Okwesibini bazihloniphe. Okwesithathu bazazi ukuba azizenzanga i-natural lando.
My personal thoughts about people that identify as LGBTQI, I treat them like as any other person because there's no difference.
We will have to adapt to change in terms of when we talk in class.
Then now when they're teaching us what's on the textbook, they should teach us exactly what is on the textbook, no changing of anything. The word is the word, exactly like it is. And then also equality is very important when it comes to teaching many learners.
Sometimes we as teachers, we don't present the topics as they are stipulated in the work schedule.
And it's so interesting to have heard where learners said they don't want our opinion, but they want what is in the textbooks. They want us to tell them exactly what is written in the books.
The one thing that resonated within me is the manner in which life orientation is being taught to them. They kept on repeating this over and over again, that our educators are not calling a spade often enough. Do you feel that's what you're doing?
I would say some of the educators are doing that because of how they were raised. Mostly like male educators who will teach like life orientation will not be able to stand in front of youngsters and speak about such issues. Because even at home, it will be the mother who will speak to the children about such issues.
It is just unfortunate and so unfortunate that some of our teachers are not in life orientation with the necessary passion. They're not trained. Not all of them are trained enough. And now what is happening is that our children are the ones who are suffering. And it is sad to hear it from the angels, that this is what is needed in the classrooms. And most important, above all, as they said, I 100% agree with them that love is the cornerstone of education.
There are certain teachers who went to the educational field not because they were passionate about what they do, not because they care a lot about the lives of children and touching other people's lives. And they will make a bad name for people like us who knew why they went to teaching.
I think many years ago when I was being trained as a teacher, there was something that said the teacher must die in order for the learner to exist. Or to develop, right? So that is one thing that we as teachers need to do, and you can only listen to a person when you respect that person and when respect comes from love. I maintain, and my cornerstone is love.
I want to paraphrase what our founding president and father of this democracy, who is an embodiment of the Constitution, Utatu Mandela, when he said about hate, that it's something that we learn, we can unlearn that. And this is where the paraphrasing comes in, that it's not in our DNA. None of us were born hating. Culture evolves. As circumstances are changing, circumstances become different, and as communities, as societies, we meet and confront different challenges at different epochs, at different times in our lives. So the choice is, are we open to new ideas? Are we open to new possibilities? And part of what we as society need to do is to in fact acknowledge that all religions, they would never allow anybody to be violated or anybody to be killed or disrespected. So culture can't oppress us. In fact, culture should serve as a liberating tool that all of us must forever remember that no culture should be promoted, especially that culture that kills.
I would agree 110%. To close it off, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and break the silence with us on this subject. Thank you so much. I'm Dineo Ranaga. Take care. Educators, call out homophobia and discourage discrimination. Understand sexual and gender diversity for better teaching, and remember it is a constitutional right. Parents, accept and protect diverse children. Learners, no to homophobic bullying. The South African Constitution is the first in the world to protect the rights of sexual and gender minorities. We hope that today we've been able to give our learners as well as educators the tools they need to create the utopia we hope to achieve. Tune in next time for another episode of Breaking the Silence.